Most people right now are talking about Bitcoin's price, about strategic reserves, and about whether we're already near the top of this cycle. But let's set all of that aside for a moment. Today, we're going to look at something deeper, a new kind of danger, the rise of quantum computers and what they could mean for Bitcoin. A challenge that sounds like science fiction, but is being worked on in the most advanced labs in the world. I've taken a deep dive into the science, complex algorithms, technical papers, and the latest research, and I've boiled it down so you can truly understand what's at stake. By the end of this video, you'll not only see the risk clearly, you'll know how to put it into perspective. And before we begin, hit like and subscribe. One click, 1 second, and you'll always get Bitcoin signal in a world full of noise. I don't want to bore you with endless technical details, so I'll keep it short, compact, and easy to follow. But before we can talk about the risks, it's important to understand what quantum computers actually are. A normal computer is simple. It works with bits, ones, and zeros. Every email, every picture, every financial transaction is, at its core, a string of ones and zeros. A quantum computer works differently. It uses qubits. And a qubit isn't just one or zero, it can be both at the same time. This is called superposition. Even stranger, qubits can be linked together so that the state of one instantly affects the other. That's entanglement. Why does this matter? Because it means quantum computers don't explore one possibility after another. They explore many possibilities simultaneously. Imagine you're trying to guess the winning lottery numbers. A normal computer would check one combination after another. Billions of tries, step by step. A quantum computer could, in theory, explore all combinations at once and collapse instantly onto the correct result. Or think of finding a single key in a massive keyring with billions of keys. A normal computer tests one after the other. A quantum computer tests them all at the same time. Problems that would take a normal computer longer than the age of the universe to solve could, in theory, be cracked by a quantum machine in hours. And two algorithms stand out. Shor's algorithm, which could one day break the cryptography behind Bitcoin's digital signatures, and Grover's algorithm, which makes brute forcing hashes faster. Not catastrophic, but it cuts the effective strength of a 256-bit hash down to 128. Still strong, but no longer unbreakable. Grover makes the fortress wall thinner, but Shor has the potential to open the lock on the gate. Bitcoin relies on two foundations. Signatures prove you own your coins. Hashes secure the blockchain and mining. Signatures are like the key to your safe. Hashes are the bricks of the fortress. And here's the critical detail. Whenever you make a transaction, your public key becomes visible. If a strong enough quantum computer existed, Shor's algorithm could take that public key and calculate the private key behind it. That means your Bitcoin could, in theory, be stolen before the transaction is even confirmed. Impossible today, but one day in the future, maybe not. I'm keeping this short on purpose. There's much more depth here. And if you'd like me to do a full deep dive into Bitcoin's cryptography, let me know in the comments. For now, it's enough to understand the basics. Let's talk mining. Proof of work is built on SHA-256. Grover's algorithm helps, but not enough to break it. ASIC miners are still far more efficient. Bitcoin's mining wall is safe. Second, signatures. That's the real issue. Every visible public key is a potential target. That includes every transaction. And it includes old addresses where the key has been exposed for years. This is why the legendary untouched coins from 2009 and 2010 are often discussed. If quantum computers ever become powerful enough, those coins would be the first to fall. Billions of dollars in ancient Bitcoin could suddenly move, and that would shake the world. Again, this is a condensed overview. Each of these risks deserves its own breakdown, which I'd be happy to cover in future videos if there's interest. For now, keep the big picture in mind. The mining wall stands strong, but exposed signatures are the weak point. Here's the perspective. If quantum computers can break Bitcoin, they can break everything. Banks rely on RSA to secure trillions in daily payments. Stock exchanges rely on ECDSA to authenticate trades. Your browser, your email, even your credit card, all of it is built on the same cryptography that Bitcoin uses. If Shor's algorithm ever runs at scale, this isn't just a Bitcoin issue, it's a civilization-wide issue. The US National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has already been running a global competition for post-quantum algorithms since 2016. In fact, they've already selected 4 primary candidates, including dilithium and Falcon, and are urging industries to begin migration, and governments are not subtle about the timeline. The White House published a roadmap in 2022. By 2035, every federal agency must have transitioned to quantum-safe encryption. That's not optional, that's law. And let's not forget, intelligence agencies are almost certainly harvesting encrypted data right now under the strategy known as store now, decrypt later. That means if they ever get a quantum machine, they can unlock decades of private communications, financial records, even state secrets. So ask yourself this: when that day comes, who will adapt faster, the slow bureaucracies of banks and governments, or an open-source protocol with thousands of developers worldwide? I want to hear your view. Drop a comment below. Who do you think will move first when the quantum race begins? Whenever a new threat to Bitcoin is discussed, you'll notice something. The loudest voices are often not the builders, not the developers, not the people who actually understand the protocol. They're bankers, politicians, or so-called tech visionaries with their own interests. Take certain central bankers. Some of them love to hint at quantum computers as if they'll magically kill Bitcoin overnight. Why? Because it plants doubt. It slows adoption. It keeps people inside the fiat system a little longer. Then you have parts of Wall Street. For them, quantum risk is just another narrative. Another way to justify the idea that you should only trust regulated ETFs or custodians instead of holding your own keys. Convenient, isn't it? And let's not forget the tech billionaires. Some of them genuinely believe in quantum breakthroughs, but others have a clear agenda to promote their own projects, their own AI or computing companies by comparing them against Bitcoin's vulnerability. Here's the truth. Real Bitcoin developers don't panic about quantum risk. They plan, they research, they prepare. So whenever you hear panic headlines about Bitcoin doomed by quantum computing, always ask, who benefits from this narrative? And that's the key difference. While the headlines scream panic, Bitcoin's developers are quietly building the solutions, not with hype, not with fear, but with real cryptography, real research, and real code. And that leads us to the most important part, what Bitcoin developers are actually doing. The Bitcoin community isn't blind to this. In fact, developers have been openly discussing the quantum risk for more than a decade. Take Peter Vuille, one of Bitcoin's most respected core developers. He pointed out that moving Bitcoin to new cryptography is not trivial but entirely possible within the existing upgrade framework. His view? Quantum computing is a problem for the future, but Bitcoin is flexible enough to handle it. Or Adam Back, cryptographer and OG. He reminded people that the real threat is not that Bitcoin can't adapt, but that governments and banks will be far slower to transition. His point, Bitcoin might actually upgrade faster than the traditional financial system. And Gregory Maxwell, another core dev, said it even more bluntly: if a quantum computer strong enough to break ECDSA exists, we'll have bigger problems than Bitcoin. Still, developers are preparing. They're looking at post-quantum signature schemes, algorithms like dilithium, Falcon, Sphinx Plus. They're also exploring hybrid transactions, a model where you sign once with a classical key and once with a quantum-resistant key. That way, even if Shor's algorithm could break one, the other still holds. And then there's Taproot. Its flexible script paths mean that Bitcoin can add new cryptography in a smooth way, without needing a radical overhaul of the system. The message is simple. Bitcoin is not a sitting duck. It is a living protocol, capable of evolution. So what can you do today? First, never reuse addresses. One address, one transaction. That way your public key isn't left exposed. Second, use modern addresses. SegWit, Taproot, they don't just save fees, they prepare you for upgrades. Third, keep perspective. Don't panic about quantum risk, but don't ignore it either. The challenge is real, but it's not here yet. And finally, stay informed. Don't just rely on headlines. They're designed to sell fear. Instead, follow the places where real Bitcoin work happens. The Bitcoin Core mailing list and GitHub repos. This is where actual proposals for new cryptography and upgrades are discussed. Conferences like Bitcoin Dev Plus or Scaling Bitcoin Developers often present early research on post-quantum security there. And respected Bitcoin devs on X, people like Peter Wheeler, Andrew Polstra, or Adam Back occasionally drop signal on the topic. And if you want all of that without drowning in noise, subscribe here because I'll continue to drop updates on quantum computing, on Bitcoin dev discussions, and on the big picture risks and opportunities. This channel is your shortcut to staying ahead. Because by the time the mainstream media panics, Bitcoiners will already be building the fix, and I'll be here to break it down for you. Remember this, Bitcoin has faced existential threats before. It survived the collapse of Mt. Gox when 90% of trading disappeared overnight. It survived the China mining ban when half the hash rate vanished in weeks. It survived the block size wars, a civil war that almost split the chain in two. Each time people declared Bitcoin dead. Each time Bitcoin came back stronger. Quantum computing will be the same. Quantum computers are not a danger today. They may be decades away, but when they arrive, Bitcoin will be ready. Because here's the truth, quantum computers will not destroy Bitcoin, they will make Bitcoin evolve. They will prove, once again, that Bitcoin is anti-fragile. If this gave you clarity, hit like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments, is quantum computing Bitcoin's ultimate threat, or just another obstacle that will make it stronger? I'll see you next week, still stacking BTC, still holding my own keys, and still cutting through the noise.